We live in a world of automation. From appliances to calculators to internet and McDonald's, computerized automation has both given and taken time from us all. Recently, I decided to start making videos. My Atari retrospect video embraced a style that was mine, but it took a long time to create. In this video, I'll show some ways I plan to simplify the video creation process while still keeping that personal, handcrafted feel. As the saying goes, why spend 10 minutes doing something manually when you can spend 10 hours writing code to automate it? Number 1. Text. In my videos, I like to throw in a creative blurb that introduces a topic. No generic fonts were appealing, so I decided I would instead draw each letter by hand. I soon realized that while this personal font looks appealing, writing out each letter over and over was eating up too much time. I helped solve the problem by creating then duplicating each glyph to its proper location, but this was still tedious. Coding time. I started by opening up my favorite code editor and creating a new Next app from the terminal. I then deleted all the sample code before adding a text box. I then took the value of that text box, split the contents into an array of lines, then each of those lines into an array of characters, then added a path onto the front of each character, then mapped the array of lines to actual elements using JavaScript XML. Let me know in the comments if you're actually interested in this stuff. Anyways, 4 hours later, I have a pretty cool web app that can convert text into my handwriting. I even made it to allow colored text. Number 2, my face. I've mentioned before I don't like looking at a camera, thus I exist on the internet as a worm. Internet worms, however, don't do much on their own. They need someone constantly throwing keyframes at them to move their mouth and make them sway back and forth. This is probably the second most time-consuming thing about my videos. Now, this process was significantly improved by using a rig in my last video. This means that I can move this handle to change my mouth. Unfortunately, each mouth position has to be entered one by one, so I had an idea. What if I could just stick my audio in a box and have the keyframes automatically generated? Tools like this exist, but in past experience I was never able to make any work. Today I'm gonna try again. So here's what I did. First, I downloaded a plugin called Blender Rhubarb Lip Sync and added it to Blender, which didn't work. I guess it doesn't work past Blender 3.2, so I browsed the Blender website until I found version 2.9. Blender's drawing update hadn't been released yet, so my character was just invisible. Third time's a charm. I finally found version 3.1, which worked with both my character and Rhubarb Lip Sync. A few more hours of struggling and redrawing mouths based on Rhubarb's mouth chart, I got it to animate this video. It's not perfect, but unless you look closely, I think it works. Number 3, animating. Frame-by-frame animation is a great way to create natural, enjoyable animation. The main downside is it can take hours, days, or even weeks to create a single second of high-quality animation. Now, without sacrificing the beauty of handcrafted animation, there aren't many big shortcuts like in the last examples, but small shortcuts do exist. Here are a few examples. First, I separate all the characters and objects into separate drawings, and each drawing into layers. Second, I use keyframes wherever possible, so I don't have to draw all the in-between frames. And third, I use palettes and materials to quickly switch between different colors. Again, it still takes time, but as long as I admit it's not going to look perfect, the drawing gets drawn. Number 4, putting it all together. Last but not least, we need a solid way to put the whole video together. The animation, sound, and text are all compiled into a video. In my last few weeks of experience, I learned that reusing pieces of my last video is more complicated than it seems. From now on, I'll be using a template Blender project so I can keep my tabs, character, and layout all consistent between projects. And as a final word of advice, place all the files for a single project in a dedicated project folder. That way, if the original file gets moved or misplaced, you don't have to go through the nightmare of finding it. Thanks for making it to the end. If you'd like to see more videos like this, or videos about something totally different, leave a comment below. I'll soon be taking a 2-year break, so I'm not sure how many videos I'll be able to create before then. Happy New Year's, and I'll see you in the next one.